board games, role-playing games, assembling and painting models and miniatures. These are my hobbies. I'm Howard the Blues, one half of the popular podcast Beer, Blues, and BS. And now join me as I rebuild my cave of wonders. Over the past year or so, my painting productivity has taken a sharp decline. Between having a kid, deciding to move, actually pulling off that move, really the time to paint has been pretty small. But now I'm in my new place. And when we were looking for a spot, Lefty and I said, one of my must-haves was what I called Shedtopia. It was going to be a shed, but more than a shed. It's going to be a workshop, a place where I could work and build and create. It was going to have a game room, a podcast studio. It was going to be just the epic place. Well, the place we got doesn't have a shed, but we do have this extra basement down here, and this is becoming our hobby space, including my cave of wonder. So let's start with a tour of the hobby room and what will eventually be kind of my space. With a caveat, I do share part of this with Lefty. That was part of it. She has her craft stuff down here. And a warning, for those who are easily triggered by messes, it's a bit messy. We are still unpacking, so be prepared. It's going to be a little bit much, but that's part of what this series is about, is working to build this thing. So let's take a look. So I'll flip this around. So this here is the hobby space. Yeah. The past owners used to use this as a joint and shared hobby space, and they actually had a pool table down here. Hence the center pool lighting that's the table, which will make an excellent spot for a game table to eventually go. We don't have a TV for down here yet, but it's on our list. It has a nice fireplace. It has this great runner shelf that's up here that I will eventually deck out with more hobby and kind of geeky goodness. Right now it's got kind of some odds of ends as I've been throwing stuff up there, as I don't know exactly where it's all going to go. So lots of things and projects and all of that. Different boxes in various stages of unpacking and trying to sort through. So over here in this corner, we have basically some wonderful cabinetry. The folks who put this stuff together, it's great. It's all nice, soft close doors and such. So there it goes. And there's a lot of bickering back and forth over who would get this space, and the wife and I agreed. So on this one side here, this is my domain. So I have kind of these cupboards here and these four here for right now. There might be some trading. And then she has the turntable and pretty much everything over here for all of her craft supplies. So that's all good. Over here we have my painting desk. So this is an old roll top desk, and you can see it's in a bit of a mess and disarray because I just got done inventorying Bones 5. In fact, there's my inventory sheet. I still have to do the pirate ship, but need to do some cleanup. In fact, I still have baggies all over the floor, along with some kits I still need to find boxes for, trash, and boxes for recycling. There are still some other boxes that need to be unpacked. We have a microwave from our old place that we're going to put down here, so game room snacks. My poor desk here was all used for gaming, and it's an extendable desk. It's actually the desk that when the podcast first started that I used. I need to build some inlays for that. I actually have my paint set up from work here because I need to get my main paint setup back up and in order so that I have access to them. Because right now I have these, which are all Bones 5 paints, along with, some of my finished projects. So there's that, but everything else are in these drawers. And the drawers are okay, but I developed a different paint storage system when I lived in Dickinson, and I want to reuse that. So that's the hobby room. Over here, this is the cave of wonder. So some random stuff being stored in here right now. Over here right now, a lot of these boxes are of my game books and such. A couple of them are projects like Terraforming Mars. All of these guys will fit in the big box, so I need to do that. I want to try and do the same with Fiasco. That's why that's sitting there. My cheap craft paints that I use for terrain. So a lot of this is kind of more of the boxes and such that I need to deal with. And then down this way is the game collection. So let's give you a kind of a full view of that. So this is the game collection, my library. Doesn't quite have everything in it right now. There's still some stuff in my game garage that I need to empty and put back on the shelf. So this is in a bit of disarray. When we brought the games in, they just kind of went wherever. So I need to organize that. So that's one of the big projects, is to organize the games. On the opposite wall, these are the miniatures. So everything from past Bones sets that are needing to be done, some cases of stuff that have already started, Riot Quest, stuff from Warmahordes, some model kits that I'm working on, because I still do those. I know you're going to see a lot of miniatures, but I still enjoy a good occasional model kit. Some of these are pre-painted, and sometime I'll talk about the history of how I ended up becoming a mini painter, and that, because that explains why I have some of those sorts of things. These are different terrain kits, and then you'll start to see some of the larger Bones kits out, kits for Hate, the Cutimals. I have the Iron Throne, some of the bigger already assembled Bones, along with pieces from other games, like this lovely guy here is from Arcadia Quest. What I will say, all of my models fared fairly well in the move, except for the Stygian barge. So I have some stuff to do. To fix that up. But all of those, and then there's even more large ones up here, including the famous Tequila Dragon. Again, story for another time. Bits of Monpok, my core set for 5. These are the pirate ships, so those are up there. And then I have a container of bits, so pieces and such. Along with, then down here, I've kind of started putting gaming accessories. But this is terribly out of order and out of shape. And I do actually also have some board games and such that are living up in the corner there. So sometime I will go through and give you kind of the whole rundown. But that's the cave of Wonder, and one of my big future projects for this space. So it is September the 11th, and it's the weekend. We've been working. My parents are coming over. We we promised them at one point that we were going to grill some steaks and kind of have an evening of steak and beer out on our deck, kind of to say thank you for all their help with the move. One of the things is they have a sewing table that they're bringing for my wife, which means that that's going to come down here in the hobby space. And, well, I am not like ashamed of my hobby in plastic little men. Let's face it, my dad never will understand it. It's not his thing. But here's what that means. It means they're going to come down here and probably carry that. And the place down here is atrocious. It's a mess. So what I'm going to be working on here, Lefty and Junior are taking a nap. I have some time. So in a short amount of time, I need to try and clean as much of this up and tidy it up and organize it, take out the trash, clean up the little baggies, things like that. So that's the goal for right now for today. Is get that done. So, hey, for all of you, you get to watch a lovely time lapse of me working down here and such as I try and figure out how to handle all of this stuff and where I'm going to put it. Unfortunately, this is going to continue to further my big problem of not putting stuff in a final resting place. I am just putting it where it fits, which means I'm going to have some work ahead of me in the future. So enjoy the time lapse. Let's see how much I can get done while they nap. So it's the next day. It's the 12th. I was able to get quite a bit of stuff done. So let's just give you a quick look at where we're sitting space-wise. Yeah. So this is the new table for my wife, sewing table. So we made that room. We're able to clear some stuff off of there. The contents of this box will eventually go in the drawers. This is a lot of my smaller card games and RPG supplies and things like that. So got a few things that are still sitting out. I'm going to have to decide where they're going to live. But my big project for today are these. These are my paint holders. So I constructed these. They are basically PVC pipe. And I have hot glued them to some corkboard. But I was afraid that would be too flimsy. And so on these, if I flip them over here, I got some kind of wooden dowel square pieces and basically just made a frame to kind of help support the overall structure. They work very well, and they have just enough of a kind of a ledge, if I can kind of point out, that they'll sit on top of my painting desk and sit in there just fine, and it's worked pretty well. So yeah, a lot of progress there. I have some stuff to do with my painting desk, but paint is the big project for today. As you can see, we got several boxes undone, and if we step into the cave, you'll see again stuff is on shelves, but again, I'm not super thrilled with the organization of things. I mean, I just kind of have stuff on a shelf. And part of the problem I had yesterday was, I have, and these boxes are a great example. I have a bunch of figures from Reaper. They're all packaged up and such, but I just kind of had to throw them in boxes to get them out of the way. And I'd like to do a little bit more organization. So this is going to be a long project as I eventually have to go through this. But I'm feeling overall pretty good about where I where I ended the day at. And there's some things I think that'll help the project along. In the cave, I didn't really show this yesterday, but I do have pegboard, and I only have a couple of the peg things, but so I can hang some stuff. I really like to get a few more pegs, and that way I could take my blister packs and actually hang them directly from here and have that up and out of the way. So, yeah. Oh, and hey, a fun side note for anybody. It's me and Lefty's old Rock 101 credentials that Kidder gave us so we could join him at concerts. So that's where I'm at as of right now. So the next major step for me is to get my area set up and ready for the paint holders and to start putting paint up and to start putting it up in some sort of order that Lefty will probably criticize later. Yeah. But so far, feeling good about where I'm at the moment. But let's get stuck in on some paint. All right, so now I have taken and I've laid out all of my paint. So this is every single dropper bottle of paint I have. Most of them are Reaper paints. There are a few bottles of Vallejo paint mixed in there as well. But this is everything, including some duplicates. I try my hardest not to buy duplicate paint, but sometimes I pick up a set. Reaper will put out like a collection of 6, and you buy the set and you end up with some duplicate colors, or just due to promotion, like you can see right in here, a bunch of these pinks that are the same. They are all breast cancer awareness pink. If you order from Reaper in October, you tend to get them, so you can kind of see them with the ribbons on there. So the next step before I transfer them over is to, unfortunately, go through kind of each color, line them up, spread them out, and see where I have duplicates. And I will have taken place one over in the paint rack so that I have that there. And then I will probably put one into one of my paint cases. That's what's stacked up here, to eventually go with me back to work, because I might as well have a duplicate color there to use. So that's the next step. So after a couple more hours, it's good to know the paint rack is complete, or at least full. So went with the basic Roy G. Biv color pattern in here and get in there. But unfortunately, my paint collection has grown since I made these holders. So even though that turned out really well, I still have a chunk of browns here left to put away. These are my utility paints, so primers and washes and things like that. One thing I always do, because I used the drawers for a long time, you might notice the dots on the lids. That's how I've always marked my washes, so I could tell them at a quick glance. My set of Privateer Press inks, which I really love. And then I have a very long section of metallics here to deal with. And of course, all of my flesh tones are here as well. So I probably need to build one more of these racks. And if I do, I have a space for it here. So I could easily have one more and have a good chunk of my paint there. So that's good. Duplicates, I filled one of my carrying cases and have a few spots left here. And I haven't gone through the fleshes or the metallics, so that can go in there. But then my double dupes, only a small section. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those breast cancer awareness pinks, and then like 3 of Christmas wreath. So overall, for so far this weekend, it's been some really great progress made. And that's kind of the big thing, is it's always slow progress. So Junior just got up from his nap. So we're going to go spend some family time. Will I get back down here tonight? I don't know. But that's how I kind of work on this, is just slow process, one step at a time, one project at a time, which is part of the reason why I thought that this series would be hopefully somewhat interesting, and maybe kind of give you an idea of what it's like to try and rebuild all of this after not getting to have my setup for almost a year now. So with that, that's the end for this weekend, and maybe today, but we'll just keep trekking on this project.